Hey there, today I'm going to compare these two very similar knives. So very similar in terms of purpose, in terms of capability, and in terms of, well, frankly, quality. So we're going to have a look today at the Terava Jaakaripuukko versus the Mora Garberg. Now, if you're interested in seeing the testing of these two knives, please refer to within the previous 5 videos of this one. You'll see extensive testing of both the steels and of the knife in this case, and my Mora Garberg review was about a year ago. I got another one though to be able to test it against this one and test the steel and all that sort of thing. So these two are both sort of Puukko style knives, meaning that they are, simple construction, simple design, wood carving in spirit style knives, but both of these have been souped up just a little bit to cross over into perhaps the more survival or general use style market. So we're going to go down to the tabletop. I'm going to look at the different attributes of these. I'm going to draw a line in the sand as to what I think is the better one, and I'm going to talk about comparison between steel, handle, price, capability, and I'll also be showing some other options as well. So let's get into it. Alright, so Mora Garberg, 14C28N stainless steel, full tank construction all the way through, a polypropylene plastic style handle that is some kind of really highly capable thermoplastic, very much indestructible, or as close to as you can get it. So there you go. The Terava Jaakaripuukko is in a carbon steel called 80 CRV2, and it has a rubberized overmold style hard plastic handle. It is just the same material all the way through, but it has got a certain extra grippiness. It is also full tang, however the tang ceases in this lanyard loop for it there. Both are about the same thickness. The Jaakaripuukko is a millimeter or so thicker, but really negligible differences. The Jaakaripuukko has a slightly taller blade, very slight once again, and both of them have Scandinavian grinds, and both of them come with secondary micro bevels. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about the grinds because these knives here, I've heavily altered the grinds several times, and I did that as part of learning the steel and learning how it behaves, and also testing the edge using different styles of grind. So right now, this one is wearing a full Scandi grind that is actually slightly hollow because I did a Tormek grind on it. Not completely, not cavernously so, but it is certainly a more of a finer use or a carving knife right now. If I wanted to change this, I would flatten it off again and go Scandivex. No worries at all. There is a slight micro bevel put on by using a stropping wheel at a sort of pretty severe angle. So it's durable enough. This one right now has a Scandi primary and then really a fairly tall secondary bevel there along the edge. And I've done that for stability and for testing purposes, and really it does make it quite a durable little beastie when you're plunging it through wood. So there we go. The handles, as you can see, this one has a little bit more pizzazz in terms of being ergonomically shaped. You see you've got some sort of parrot speaking at the beginning and at the end, whereas this one here is very much a simple barrel style handle, mild guarding at the beginning and end, but much simpler. Both of these knives have spines that have the ability to strike fire steels. So this one here has a chamfer cut there, but all that means is that you need to modify your angle a little bit. As they say on the website, you'll certainly get used to it. This one has a really sharp, dead flat spine that you can use from this whole point to strike fire steels very capably. So as you can see, they've both got fairly standard survival knife style features, while still maintaining that Finnish or Swedish or whoever first capitalized the Puukko style blade. Differences apart from the handle styles, you've got a pommel at the end of the Garberg, and then you've got this ring at the end of the Jaakaripuukko tang. And I guess that is going to be up to you whether you use either of those things. Me, I use neither. I don't use hammer pommels particularly. I don't really use lanyard holes either. The Mora has a lanyard hole further up here as well. So that's all the facts out of the way. Let's start being a little bit more perhaps objective and looking at which is better at what. Alright, so I think I did a whole lot of steel testing. My results were that this one will hold its edge slightly longer. As in it'll cut rope for a little bit longer with similar grinds to this one. I did it quite extensively and I'm pretty happy with my methodology and such. However, I would say that the Garberg has the better choice of steel for the average person, and perhaps for, I guess, more particularly for my use. So this is a stainless steel that holds its edge for almost as long. So I'm talking about 90% as long as this stuff. According to my tests, it seems to be just as tough when I've done my, in my testing I did a windowsill crack where I hit the edge against the a concrete or a ceramic tile. Did about the same amount of flattening and rolling as this one, and it was about as easily restored as well. Both of these are about as sharpenable as one another, and while this one will hold its edge for a little bit longer and may sustain, perhaps lateral stress like this a little bit longer and be a little bit stronger, I would say that the stainless steel in the Garberg is just a better overall choice for myself especially, but stainlessness is really a good attribute for these outdoor knives, especially if you're going to be taking them away without bringing your oils and bringing all your knife maintenance kits with you. Little bits of rust and patina can sort of start to tarnish the blade fairly quickly, and this is a fairly, I don't think there's any chromium in this stuff at all. Very, very slight amounts, if anything. Not enough to be doing any sort of resistance yet against patinas or against rust. In terms of the blade's capabilities, as I said, the edges have been completely, overdone by me and chopped to bits and moved and mashed and redone. So they'll each cut as well as you sharpen them. I guess that is the basic thing. And I guess with things that aren't as easily modifiable, I do prefer just the basic Mora spine to the Jaakaripuukko spine, that's for sure. There's a slight learning curve to using this, and I'd rather not have a learning curve, as simple as that. In terms of appearance of the blades, you know what, they both look kind of fine to me. I don't mind this black sort of oven-baked finish here, or whatever you'd call that. I think it's fine, and as you can sort of see, they've both got about the same amount of cutting edge, maybe slightly more on the Jaakari, but overall very, very similar. So I'll just go with the Mora because it performs almost as long, but the trade-off is that you never really have to maintain it in terms of rust proofing too heavily. So yeah, I'd give the edge to the Mora in terms of the blade. Right, in terms of the handle, it is the other way around. I much prefer the Jaakaripuukko's handle. It feels good to me like the Mora Bushcraft black handle feels, which is this knife here. I just prefer with my, my outdoor knives, I like to have an enclosed tang, which both of these have, but I just like that extra little bit of grip without having crazy ergonomic grooves everywhere. I mean, this is fine, but when they start getting too complex, I don't like that. But I just prefer having that little bit of extra traction. This is really just a plastic feeling material. I've had it in gloves. You can see it's starting to wear in pretty well. They say it's, some folks say that it does gradually sort of warm up, sort of resurface itself and become a bit grippier, but it really does just feel like a hard plastic. And as well as that, I just prefer the slight bit of extra security of these parrot speaking here and at the back there. It feels a little bit more secure in your hand, and most importantly, more comfortable in the long term. This is a great design because you can rotate the knife around really, really easily. It's got nice barrel shape. It's a very, very good handle. And you know what? If it was covered in this stuff, it probably would be the better handle still. It's just as it is now, it doesn't quite feel as secure and doesn't quite feel as comfortable or as grippy in my hand as this one here does. So I'm going to give the edge in the handle department to the Terava Jaakaripuukko. In terms of other features, so the Mora has both the sharpened spine and the pommel at the end, whilst still maintaining a lanyard hole. The Puukko has a sharpened spine, a little bit tricky to use, fine, and it's a lanyard loop there, which I'm sure you could use to. It's probably round enough and strong enough to withstand a bit of a pummeling, but it's not super helpful to me really. So I do prefer the little extra features or extra little ability in this Mora to be able to, if I needed to, crack stuff at the back of it, use that as a scraping, channeling tool. You could sort of think, you could say if you had a trough, you wanted to trough something out, you could use that slight curve on it. So I guess I'd probably give them Mora just to get a little bit of extra square in terms of overall capability, let's say. All right, let's roll in some other Scandi knives for this next point that I'm going to try and make. So, why do you need these two? I don't think you really do. You may well want these two, and want is just as potent a word, for sure. I'm not sure if you've watched my channel a great deal. I have never wailed on a knife as hard as I have wailed on this knife right here. So this doesn't have a full tang. It's got a partial tang to about here, inset into this plastic handle. This is the Holtifers GK. People say, oh, you need the full tang for survival purposes because of, overall structure and durability. I was hitting this with a hammer, like a metal hammer on the back of this knife, and there was no movement, no problem whatsoever. This Finn Hawk, this is a Finn Hawk, yeah, by Cold Steel, straight into a really twisted gnarly log, battening both here and on the end. Ridiculous use, no problems at all. The Bushcraft Black, probably my most used knife, apart from maybe the Falcon even F1, out of all my knives, has done all sorts of horrible things, has been reground several times. No worries at all. It's not full tang. It is plenty strong enough, plenty thick enough, about as thick as either of these two as well, as is this one here. Like it's not essential for these kind of knives, in my opinion, to be full tang. It's desirable. I mean, I can see why people want that, because the full tang sometimes does make it feel a bit more balanced. You get steel all the way through, feels more robust, and hey, feel is a massively important thing, of course, when buying a knife. But the reason I'm talking about this is that the main thing that puts these, especially this one, separate from these is the price. So Mora has upgraded their steel, yes, to 14C28, which is a modest upgrade from 13C27, which the other stainless steel Mora is in. That's a carbon Mora, whatever. So they have upgraded it slightly, but as they have upgraded the price as well. So let's bust out some amateur price tags. Holtifers, $12 US, 18 Australian dollars. What have we got? The Cold Steel Finn Hawk is $28 US. These are like knife center prices or larger retail prices. $28 US, 45 Australian dollars. Mora Bushcraft Black, 49 US, $85 dues. That's getting up there. The Jaakaripuukko, and this is where this knife really stands out. With the leather sheath, I'll get to sheaths in a minute. With the leather sheath, $56 US, 74 Australian dollars, an extra tenner there for shipping. And mind you, the shipping came from Finland to Australia in about 4 days. So very good shipping. Mora Garberg, they said it was going to come down, and it really hasn't. It's not broadly come down anyway. Still $89 US, and between 130 and 150 Australian dollars, depending on sheath options. So that is a lot of extra cash for this much extra steel in the Garberg, with a handle that I would say isn't quite as effective as, say, this one, or as even like the Mora Robust. This is about as thick as the Mora Robust, and it's just got that bit of extra steel, and that's a whole lot of extra money. And surely that's I've tried. I have had some comments before on my previous Garberg review about perhaps me being a bit anti it just because of the price, and it is a really, really good knife. And as I said, it's got probably the best blade and best steel out of all of these for the purposes that I use it for anyway, in my opinion. But just that is a lot of cash, especially here. It's twice the cash of this almost, maybe almost twice if you're thinking it's going to be 85 to 90. It comes with a really nice leather sheath. I'll talk sheaths in a second, but it's a lot, and it really does put this, the handle was never going to be, I've always preferred this handle anyway. It's going to put this one as the one that I recommend you get if you're going to have to choose between one of these two, because the performance benefits of this aren't so good that they are an extra $33 US or an extra, $70 Australian, $66 Australian. They're not so much better that I think that price hike is warranted. So this is why I said at the conclusion of this video, I would suggest if you are truly wanting a full tang, Scandi style knife, then the Jaakaripuukko is probably one I would suggest. If you're after a good Finnish or Swedish style knife, I would go even lower, and I would stick with this if the full tang does not matter to you at all. The Mora Bushcraft Black is an excellent knife, super capable, super strong, just fine in terms of strength. I've reground mine to have no micro bevel. It's 1095-ish steel, it's just their carbon steel, so easy enough to do that. I don't know, if you use your knives and you actually, and you abuse them even like I have with this one, you'll notice that full tang, with this sort of style, it doesn't seem to be that much of a big deal, because I think you can see millions of videos of all these knives, including mine, getting absolutely smashed. So, I don't know. The Jaakaripuukko, great value. Great knife, great price. I would choose that over the Garberg. The Garberg is an excellent knife, and if you can get one for, your $60 US, if you can get one for about the same price as this, I would say the stainless steel makes it probably the slightly more desirable knife. If these were both the same price, yeah, it'd be one or the other. But yeah, as it stands now, still a little bit too high to be really competitive, in my opinion. So yeah, sorry the Garberg fans, your knife is not terrible. Your knife is very good and very capable, but I just wish it was a little bit lower priced. If it was, I think it'd compete probably very strongly, or probably would even best the Jaakaripuukko. Alright guys, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now. Actually, I forgot to talk sheaths. So, the Mora Garberg comes with this very nice leather sheath. When you pay like the 150 Australian or the, I think it's $94 US from Knife Centre. Really nice leather sheath. And as far as I'm aware, the Puukko comes with a really nice sheath when you pay the 56 US or the 74. People are saying that sheath is excellent. I don't have that sheath. I ordered it just with a plastic liner, and I use this sort of random sheath from one of my buddies has made for me. So I'm completely sorted for sheaths myself. I think the sheaths are about as good as one another, so I wouldn't get too hung up on that. You're both getting a good leather sheath with each knife. So yeah, just had to add that little extra bit. The sheaths are both good, and they're not a super huge selling point on each. There's certainly improvements on these sort of clip-on, not that these are terrible, on these clip-on style Swedish sheaths that you get on most of the Mora style knives. Alright guys, thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.